Hi you guys, welcome back to my Crypto 101 series, and today we're going to be talking about Ethereum and decentralized applications, or DApps for short. Now you guys, DApps are so important to the Ethereum blockchain and to the Ethereum platform just in general, so I want to teach you everything about it since I'm teaching you everything about Ethereum. And in my last video we went over Ethereum and smart contracts, so if you want to go over that to know like the foundation of Ethereum, go ahead and click that link for that previous video. But if you've already watched it or you already know about smart contracts, let's go ahead and jump into these decentralized applications. But before we jump anywhere, welcome back to Getting Digital with Deja. Okay guys, so let's first go over the textbook definition for decentralized applications, or DApps for short. A software application that operates on a blockchain or a peer-to-peer network rather than a single centralized server. Unlike traditional applications like Twitter or banking apps, which are controlled by a central authority, DApps are designed to be autonomous, open source, and resistant to censorship. So you guys, this basically means that not one entity has power over this decentralized app or over this DApp, you guys. The power and the control is shared between the users and the developers. And it's usually done like in the means of tokenization, of owning tokens that has to deal with that platform or has to deal with that app. Okay, you guys, so not one entity controls this. There's no center point of failure. There's no center point of authority or anything like that. It's shared amongst the users on its network, on its application software. So that's just really, really cool. So these DApps can be anything from like reading platforms to mathematical platforms to social media platforms, just anything you want. But the thing is, these decentralized applications run off of smart contracts. And you have to remember, anything that goes into a smart contract, once it's executed, it's executed. There's no reverse, there's no get my money back, there's nothing. There's no post now and delete it later if it was a social media platform. There's none of that. So basically anything that you put on there is permanent. I believe anything you put on the internet is permanent anyway. And because these DApps literally run on thousands of decentralized computers, like nodes, literally, you guys, it's so hard to be able to take it offline, like, because that means that you would have to go to each computer and do all the configurations and everything for that. Like, it's really difficult for you to be able to take down a DApp once it's up and running and doing its thing. So that's the cool thing, that it can't be taken down because it's on so many decentralized computers within the network. But the bad thing about this same exact thing is that it's harder for any of the developers to make updates to these decentralized applications because everything is on blockchain and blockchain cannot be changed. It's going to be very difficult to be able to update all the nodes on the computer network and things like that. So it does make it a lot more difficult for developers to be able to make updates to their applications that they create using decentralized applications on the Ethereum platform. So another cool thing about these DApps is that it is open source code. That means that anybody could go and build on top of or take away from these DApps, which is really, and create their own little thing, you know, which is really, really cool, you guys, because it's like so much transparency. You know, with like Google and YouTube and things like that, we can't necessarily find exactly their algorithm. We can guess on how their algorithm works and just like kind of play around and see what works for us and things like that to get to where we want to be, like to achieve the goals we want to within that app. But you guys, we don't actually know the algorithm. We don't have the code and things like that. Like, we don't actually possess that because it's not open source. It's closed off, okay? Now, with these decentralized apps though, they are open source. You can know the algorithm. You can know as much information as you want to. You can take that same DApp and create a whole nother app from it using its source code. So that is the really cool thing about these decentralized applications. Now, next, it's censorship resistant, you guys. That means that government and entities and institutions and things like that cannot take down any of the content that is placed on these DApps because they are not the central point of authority. They can't do it. It's a decentralized application, which is really good. They can't ban you from using this app because technically they aren't in control of it. There's also cryptographic security deeply embedded inside of these decentralized applications because everything is recorded on a blockchain, like I said, but then everything is verified and insured by the participants on that network. So those nodes, they're verifying and participating in these transactions and creating transparency to where there's there's no shady stuff going on, okay, you guys? So I talked about a lot of good things for decentralized applications. Now let's talk about the bad things. I got 3 of them, okay, so far. Number 1 is going to be that these decentralized applications, if there is a flaw inside of the smart contract that is on their application, hackers can exploit this flaw and like really damage the whole application in general, okay? These applications can be slower and they could experience network congestion because you have to remember it is on the Ethereum platform, which would kind of delay the way the app works and kind of delay your experience on it as well. And the third reason is that it is way more harder to use than the traditional apps, you guys. So the traditional censored apps like Twitter, YouTube, Google, they're so much easier to use than these decentralized applications, which is why it hasn't been adopted by the masses, even though the advantages are just like skyrocketing. You know, the masses are very used to just one click, blah, 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 blah. You ain't got to do much applications instead of having to figure out this decentralized application. Now let's give a real life example of a very popular decentralized application or DApp that exists today and that is actually adopted by a lot of people within the crypto world, you guys. And that's going to be Uniswap, okay? So I'm going to give the textbook definition of Uniswap, and it's going to be: a decentralized exchange, DEX for short, provides an app that allows users to easily exchange or swap cryptocurrencies. So the really cool thing about Uniswap is that it doesn't rely on traditional order books and things like that to be able to manage liquidity and set prices. It actually uses what they call AMM, or automated market maker. So the textbook definition for an automated market maker is going to be a smart contract that relies on a liquidity pool instead of an order book and uses a mathematical formula to determine buy and sell prices. Uniswap doesn't hold any of the crypto assets on the exchange and doesn't take the opposite side of trades in order to create liquidity, okay? Instead, these trades are happening between you and smart contracts. So within that smart contract is going to include like a mathematical formula that will determine how much you're going to pay or set the price for that crypto asset, you guys, okay? So it's not like you have to actually trade with someone individually, or that the platform itself has to cause liquidity inside of the market like a lot of brokerages and exchanges do. Instead, you're trading with smart contracts. So it's an automated service. So they're the ones setting prices and things like that. So that makes it even better for you, because then that means that you'll probably get more of a fair price than you would if individuals were setting the prices and things like that for these exchanges of cryptocurrencies. So in order for this automated market maker to be able to work and do its job, it's going to need what they call a liquidity pool. And I'm going to give you the textbook definition for that. And that's going to be: other users deposit their crypto assets to provide liquidity and are compensated with their share of the trading fee. Okay, you guys? So for all of this to even be possible, you guys, they had to switch and go through the merge in 2022 of being proof of work to proof of stake, where people are staking their cryptocurrencies as collateral to help validate these transactions on the platform, on the network, you guys. So remember when I said that these D apps run on an open source code software? Well, that essentially allows the users to be able to look through the source code and identify if anything shady is going on within the platform, within the transactions or the smart contracts, and that makes it easier and more reliable for them to validate anything that needs to be validated on the network as far as transactions go. So the app's protocols are going to be public and permissionless, you guys, okay? So Uniswap, its protocol is public and permissionless, which essentially means that all you have to do is be able to have the computer to download this app on, and anybody in the world can use it. You don't have to register, you don't have to create an account, you don't have to give your public identity or private identity or anything like that to these people. You literally, it's just like creating crypto wallet. All you need is a network connection and a device. That's all you need, which makes it really, really cool, because it's allowing people who don't have bank accounts and things like this to be able to really participate in finance. And trading cryptocurrencies is really a big deal. Trading cryptocurrencies, I believe, in many years is going to be the new Forex, okay? So cryptocurrencies are going to be used to replace government fiat money, Okay, and so in a minute we'll be trading cryptocurrencies instead of just like fiat currencies. It's my opinion. Don't quote me on it, but if I'm right, quote me on it. Okay, guys, we're pressing pause on proof of stake, and we're gonna be pressing play on Wednesday, where I go over literally everything proof of stake, not only having to deal with Ethereum, because a lot of cryptocurrencies, especially the newer ones, are using proof of stake instead of proof of work, POW. So I'm going to be going over all of that in my video on Wednesday. And I'm also going to be talking about the native currency of Ether. Okay? Fun fact, if you didn't know, Ethereum itself is not a cryptocurrency. It's cryptocurrency, and native currency is going to be known as Ether. Okay? And we're going to be going over all of that on Wednesday. So come back with your pens and your notebooks, and make sure that you subscribe and turn your notifications on and all that good stuff, you guys, because we're talking about all things Ethereum this week. And if you have any questions or anything, go ahead and shoot that in the comments, okay? Because I'd be listening to your comments, I'd be looking at y'all's comments, responding to them. And if y'all ever want me to do a video on something, I will definitely do that. That's exactly why I'm doing a proof of stake video on Wednesday, because somebody actually commented and wanted me to do a video about that. So I got you. Thank you guys so much for coming and participating in my Crypto 101 series. And I just wanted to remind you that pretty girls can do crypto too. See you guys Wednesday.